Welcome to Raising the Bar. I am Ashley Vargas, and I help lifters feel more confident adding weight to their barbell. Hello, lifters, and welcome to episode number 6 of Raising the Bar. Last week, I had the pleasure of attending the Women in Powerlifting Forum, which was hosted by world record holder Tamera Walcott. The conversation was centered around the major shift that is happening in the sport of powerlifting and how women are quickly rising to the top and beginning to truly dominate this sport. I found this event to be so inspiring and motivating that I decided to do a full review of the discussion and share some of the key takeaways. The forum had a panel of some of the most influential and game-changing females in the sport of powerlifting. Listening to these ladies share their experiences in the sport and talk about where they started and kind of walking through the journey to where they started to where they are now was absolutely inspiring. This is going to be the first of many of these women in powerlifting forums. So if you were unable to attend the first event, I highly recommend attending the next one. And this isn't just for females only. So men, if you want to participate as well, I highly encourage it. The panel included 7 women from all different parts of the country with completely different backgrounds, but who are really making a change within the sport of powerlifting. One of the first was Dr. Ashley Contoro, and she is a doctor of physical therapy. She is a 164-pound lifter with an insane total of 1334. She is also the owner of South Bay Strength in Southern California. And then the so impressive 18-year-old Mahalia Reeves, who is a bench record holder at a crazy 380 pounds. We have Barbara Lee, who is a powerlifting coach and a top 20 athlete. Amber Hansen, who is probably one of my favorite lifters. She is the founder of the Main Event Project, which is a nonprofit organization that's designed to create equality within the strength sports. Marissa Wilson, who narrated the event, is a female powerlifter with an insane 1395 total. Trisha King, who is a mom of 2, who is balancing her love for the sport with her responsibilities to her family. And she provided some really good insight on how to prioritize your health so you can be at your best for others. And of course, there was Tamara Walcott, who organized this entire event and is probably become one of the most well-known female powerlifters in the sport, which is absolutely crazy because Tamara has only been powerlifting for 4 years. And in such a short amount of time, Tamara has broken her own world records and just recently set a new world record for the elephant bar deadlift, pulling 641 pounds. During the discussion, there were 2 overarching themes that I want to talk about because I think that this is something that all female lifters can relate to or have shared some very similar experiences. The first overarching theme was community. And I can definitely relate to this personally. The powerlifting sport truly does have the strongest and most supportive community out there. The support also often comes from your gym family or even often from your competition. There are several women that I've connected with over the years at different competitions who, are in the same weight class as I am, and I'm competing against them for that top lifter spot or for that, number 1 place within the weight class. And as I'm stepping onto the platform, those women have cheered me on like just as much as my friends and family in the crowd do. And I can honestly say that there are not very many sports where your competition is also like your biggest support system. And when Tamara created the Women in Powerlifting Movement, she did so with the intent of creating a community. And I'm going to quote her here. "I want to shine light on the sport, shine light on positivity, and bring that positivity into the community. And I want to create a space for women to be who they are, act how they want to act, and realize that you don't have to look a specific way, and we are going to be here for you." And I think that's absolutely amazing. And what I love most about what Tamara is doing is she is using her influence and using her platform to really embrace others and make them know that they have a home in the powerlifting community and support and ensure that women have the power to achieve any goal that they set for themselves. Amber Hansen is also utilizing her platform to build a strong community to support her fellow female lifters. I had mentioned earlier that she's one of the founders of the Main Event Project, which empowers, educates, and creates equality within the strength sports. The organization also helps to financially support female lifters meets, if you're unaware, can get extremely expensive, from registration to gear. If your meet is not local, you have to pay for your flight, you have to pay for hotels, and that's not taking into account the cost leading up to the meet, from your gym membership to your coach to your nutrition, all of these other things. Like, it can get very expensive, and there's a lot of very talented lifters out there that may not be able to partake because of the financial burden that does come with it. And it's funny to think that powerlifting just last year had its first pro meet, where the athletes that placed won money. Powerlifting has been around for quite a while, and the fact that it hasn't become a professional sport yet is pretty crazy. There's not very many sports out there that don't pay their athletes, and powerlifting, excitingly enough, is starting to do that. And that's for both male and female lifters. So, hopefully in the future, we're going to be able to, see the sport on ESPN. And they had made a joke on the forum that if cornhole is made it onto ESPN, why can't powerlifting? And I completely agree with that. I am going to post a link for the Main Event Project. They are a nonprofit, so they do accept donations, and they have some really cool merch as well. And all of the profits do go to support female powerlifters. So make sure to check that out. And if you can donate, please do. The second overarching theme within this discussion was personal growth. And that's not just inside the gym, but that's also outside the gym. And this one really hit home for me because it's what I strive to accomplish in my business and truly have an impact on my clients' lives, both inside and outside of the gym. I believe, because I've personally experienced it, that the skills that you learn under a barbell are going to transfer and positively impact every aspect of your life. I've lived it, I've seen it, I've coached it, I believe in it. It's so funny because people often ask me why I spend so much time lifting and just make the assumption that it's a vanity thing. And even if it was a vanity thing, like who cares? I can honestly say that my lifting journey began because I was uncomfortable in my own skin and didn't feel confident in hardly any aspect of my life. And originally, yes, it started as a vanity thing because I thought that looking better was going to make me feel better. But as the journey evolved, however, it turned into so much more than that. So much so that I'm to a point now where what I look like is no longer a factor anymore. Lifting has taught me to be comfortable no matter what my body looks like. And trust me, my body has been through several variations over the years. But it no longer has a hold on how I feel, how I act, or what I feel comfortable and confident doing. As personal growth was being discussed, there was a lot of conversation in this forum around how it's so common for women to feel out of place as a powerlifter or a strength athlete because of society's expectations on beauty, implying that women should have a certain aesthetic in order to be considered beautiful. The women in strength sports, however, have made strides in changing the societal expectation, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And Amber Hansen had said this best when she said, "The weights don't care what you look like. The weight is the weight. You either pick it up or you don't." And I cannot relate to a statement more than I do that one there. And I really hope that resonates with other women as well. The reason why that statement resonates with me so much is because, from a judging perspective, the sport of powerlifting really is a level playing field. If we are going to compare it to bodybuilding, for example, just not the sport itself, but just the way that it's judged, bodybuilding takes so much discipline, so much focus, so much effort. Is a very, very challenging sport to do. However, even though they do have, specific things that they look for within each category, it's really hard to take out all of the bias from the judge's perspective as to what they consider to look good. So there is some subjectivity to the way that people are ranked in a bodybuilding competition and who takes first. However, with powerlifting, the the playing field is a little bit more level, right? Because you either pick the weight up or you don't. There's no in between. And when it comes to what you look like doing it, the playing field gets leveled even more because no matter how good your body looks, nobody, and I repeat, nobody looks good in a weightlifting singlet. So right there, you're just leveled. But you are pushing yourself past what what you think your body is truly capable of. Like, that's the whole point of your third attempt at a powerlifting meet, is to push beyond what you've done before. And when you're doing that, and your body is struggling to pull this weight, like, you start shaking, your face starts contorting into all of these weird, making all these crazy faces. You're putting in so much work to do these amazing things. What you look like doing it should absolutely not be a factor. And so I really appreciate in this sport how that is not a factor whatsoever, and the playing field does get leveled. However, from, like I said, society standpoint, and this was, like I said, a very big topic, from society's standpoint, typically women in strength sports they're not petite. They're usually a little bit bulkier, and hold on to a lot more muscle mass because that's required for the sport. However, society doesn't necessarily view that as aesthetically pleasing on a woman. So it does take a lot of courage in order for women to participate in this sport. And, sometimes it's easier said than done to say, I don't care what society thinks. But honestly, once you truly get to a point where you let that go and you don't care, it is so freeing. I mentioned this before, but it bears repeating because I truly do believe in this, that the skills learned from barbell training transfer into every aspect of your life. And the ladies that were on this panel talked about this in detail, but I really liked what Trisha King had to say on the topic. She was discussing how she balances being a mom of two, working full time, and her training. She said that she had to learn how to prioritize her health, both her physical health and her mental health, through training in order to provide the best support for her family. She said that there's no secret to doing this. It's something that has to work, so she makes it work. She also spoke a lot about how powerlifting has taught her resiliency and discipline. She was giving an example of a situation where she was going into a meet and her training leading up to it was on point. Her nutrition was on point. Her recovery was on point. And she got to the meet and the barbell did not care. Um, and through that experience, having done everything right and taking all of the necessary steps and staying focused and being disciplined, and the outcome still isn't what you expect it to be. However, you accept that situation for what it is, you learn from it, and you keep working no matter what that outcome is. And that message is very relevant in today's society of instant gratification and entitlement. Situations, no matter the effort, may not work out the way that you want them to. And that doesn't mean that you should give up. It just means that you need to push forward with even more conviction. Honestly, that's the way it should be with anything that you're passionate about. If you want to start a business, understand that you can lay the best foundation and do everything correctly, and it may not take off right away. That doesn't mean that you give up on your dream. At least I hope that's not what it means for you. You learn as you go, you adjust, you bounce back, and you keep pushing forward. If you are trying to lose weight, understand that you can do everything that you're supposed to do and eat at a caloric deficit, and your weight may not shift. And as a matter of fact, it may go up. As someone who owns their own business, I can honestly say that the skills that I apply in my business come from what I learned as a lifter. When I'm in doubt, I often think to myself, what would I tell a client who is doubting their progress? Once I realize the advice that I would give them, I then shake my doubt off and know that I am helping people achieve their goals. And that's truly what I'm here to do. And I just keep pushing forward. The final thing that I'm going to share from the Women in Powerlifting Forum is a very impressive stat that Barbara Lee shared with the group. And it was the fact that women across all lifting organizations are at the top of the list in both Wilks and DOTS. If you are unfamiliar with those two terms, Wilks and DOTS, they are the coefficients that are used to calculate pound for pound strength. And depending on which organization you're lifting with will depend on whether or not they use Wilks or DOTS. But what that means is that women are proving that they are stronger than men pound for pound. And that is incredible. Absolutely amazing. And it truly proves what our female bodies are capable of. And we are capable of some pretty amazing things. I cannot say how much I enjoy this forum, and I'm so excited for the next one. I highly encourage you to check out both Women in Powerlifting and the Main Event Project and support as you see fit. Male lifters you can support as well. I will put the Instagram links for both of those organizations in the notes of this podcast. As always, I'm going to leave you with 3 major takeaways. The first one, the powerlifting community is here to support all athletes, foster empowerment, and motivate others to achieve their goals. The second, the weight does not care what you look like. Come as you are and discover what your body is truly capable of. And 3, the skills you learn under a barbell have a positive impact on all areas of your life. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I look forward to chatting with you on the next one. As a special thank you for tuning into this episode, I am providing you with free access to my most recent Athlete's Guide, 3 drills to improving your squat depth. Make sure to click the link in the notes of this podcast to download your copy today. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe and then share this podcast on all of your social media platforms. And I will see you on the next episode of Raising the Bar.